I wanted to do a quick video about this record that I found at the record store here in Mesa, Arizona. This is very interesting to me personally because I think these little personal histories, these little bites of the lives of regular people, are really what makes the world come alive. You know, these things are rare. For one, there's probably only a few copies of this that were ever made. I would estimate probably less than 100 of these were made. They probably made one for every student and a few for the faculty, and that was it. But somehow, this made its way all the way from Joplin, Missouri to Mesa, Arizona, and it ended up in a record store in 2018, and I got it in a grab bag. Which is like a really fun way to discover records. Go to Zia Records, get a grab bag. They're like $5 and they contain a bunch of weird stuff. Usually one or two good records and then some stuff like this, which is super interesting. So this record was owned by this person, Barbara Butts, and her name is written on here twice. It was written on here once in green pen, and then over the top of that it's written with this darker pen. But this is a record from the Century Custom Recording Company in Saugus, California. So this is fascinating. Back in the day, in 1967 or 68, this company existed, and they started in 1958, and they were out of business by 1973. And they produced records from tapes that people would send in. So this high school choir probably recorded this on reel-to-reel tape. They would have mailed it to this company in Saugus, California. That would have probably taken a week or two back in the 60s. So all the way from Joplin to Saugus, California, that tape would go. These folks in Saugus, California would press that tape onto records, create a master, then press multiple copies of the record. And this would have been very expensive. So it's a fascinating history that this music that you're listening to right now made its way from Joplin, Missouri back in 1968 all the way to California, and then back into the hands of these students and to this person, Barbara Butts, who I actually looked her up, and she lived here in Mesa towards the end of her life, and she passed away in 2017. And I'm not going to read this all, but yeah, Barbara Butts, 66, of Mesa, Arizona, passed away on Friday, February 24th, 2017, Banner University Medical Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Barbara had struggled with chronic medical condition for the past few years. So she was, what, 66 years old. Yeah, born in Joplin, Missouri. Barbara lived in Joplin through the 70s when she relocated to the West Coast. Over the next 20 years, she lived in California and then in Phoenix from 78 to 88 in Spokane, Washington. So she'd been all over the country, and she ended up here in Mesa, Arizona. And what probably happened is her estate was divided up, and I bet she had a record collection, and it was sold to Zia Records. And so in that collection somewhere was this weird record of her high school choir. So probably somewhere in the voices that you're hearing here, you're listening to this person who had that interesting personal history. And I think that's the stuff that makes the world go round. So I'm going to hang on to this record. But if any family members are watching the video, if you want this record, I'd be happy to give it to you. But yeah, let's just listen a little bit. This record's in terrible shape. She obviously enjoyed the heck out of this record. It's been played a lot. So the first side of this record is actually this religious music like this. This is all Christian songs, and this would have been fine in high school in 1968. In fact, it was fine in high school when I was in high school in the 80s, to do nothing but Christian music. Nobody would have said anything about this. But the second side has some more secular songs, some Americana. But before I go here, I just want to take a look at this record. So on here, so there's the label. You can see all those Christian songs that were on the first side there. And then on the other side here, we've got, now it says St. Cecilia Choir, Mixed Ensemble, and Concert Choir. These would have been different groups that were in the high school at the time. And the first side's all concert choir. Yeah, this record's in terrible shape. It has been played an awful lot. But some of the music is not bad. This is the kind of music that I would have done when I was in high school, so it's an interesting connection. You know, the first track here is a madrigal, and I was actually in a madrigals group in high school. So I hope you enjoyed just a little taste of music from that and a little bit about the history of Century Record Service. I find this stuff incredibly interesting. Like I said, this is this kind of stuff that matters in the world. You know, the big things, the wars, famines, new countries, that stuff doesn't matter nearly as much as these personal histories. So I'm keeping this, and I'll keep it in good shape as much as I can.